Guess who's on the line right now? None other than the man himself, Sammytown. How's it going, bro? Hey, Sammy, are you there? Oh, let's see here.
Testing 1, 2, 3.
Hey, Sammy, are you there, brother?
I'm here.
All right. I'm doing good, man. We just played Dark Days, and I got to say, I really love what you did there.
Well, I appreciate that. I was trying to figure out something just a little different, and then when I tried it, I tried to explain it to Paul. He's like, "Just do it. And let me see what it sounds like." So, luckily, he really enjoyed it, and then we just went from there.
He did. Paul did dig it. He totally told us the story when we were in the studio about it, and he's just like, it just worked perfectly. So, and we listened to it, and we're like, oh my gosh, it's so good. So, yeah, it was perfect.
Yeah, when you walked in the studio to do Dark Days, Sam, can I ask how long it took you to pick that passage from Revelations to recite, the particular passage?
Well, I had brought that with me because a couple days before I started looking through Revelations to see if I could find something that I thought fit, and so that one seemed to be the best, given the tone and the context of the song.
Cool.
Yeah, that was really interesting, man. And at first, I was like, huh. And then as soon as I heard it, I'm like, wow, this is actually way cooler than I had planned. So, yeah, I just wanted to say thanks for contributing to that tune, man. I really enjoyed that. I liked what you did there vocally, man.
Well, I appreciate that you asked me to be a part of it. I do.
Yeah, man. Thanks, dude. I got to ask you, too, your new album is really, really intense. I love it a lot. Been listening to it via the social media sites, of course. Live streaming, No Warning Shots Fired is the latest offering from Fang. Do you write all your own songs? Is the band, how does that work with you guys?
So, usually for us, somebody comes in with an idea musically, and then we build on that. But this particular record, we sort of did that. But the other thing we did is, and I don't like the word, but the whole record is an homage. So all of the songs, the music of the songs are sort of our take from other bands that we love's songs.
Okay.
So if you like the song Ivy, that's sort of like Nirvana inspired. No Authority is Uniform Choice. What else? I'm just trying to think. Heart Full of Hate, Motorhead. And so that was the sort of idea of the record. We wanted to sort of it's a nod to all the the bands that we loved over the years, and then sort of our take on their style of music, I guess you could say.
Man,
that makes sense.
That really does make sense, and it's also an interesting concept that I've never really heard of, so that's cool. Congrats on finding new ways to be original. What about the song Sharpening the Knives? That's the one I'm going to play when we're done talking. So what band would that be compared to then?
God, I think that's Cro-Mags. I think
Harley and the Boys.
Yeah, or one was Agnostic at Front inspired, and one was Cro-Mags inspired, and I can't remember now. I think that was Cro-Mags.
Awesome, man.
But there was also, do you know who Bad Bunny is?
I do.
So Bad Bunny has a song, Sharpening the Knives, which was his sort of stand-up revolution song for Puerto Rico.
Oh, okay.
And so if you listen to it, it's his stuff lately hasn't been as political, but he very much started in a much more political vein, and so that the idea was sort of, it's a nod to Bad Bunny, but then it's also it's about prison, and I mean ultimately the song is really about toxic masculinity. And how, you know, we are plugged in at birth, and we're taught to think and act in very toxic ways as men in America, and if you don't realize it, if you buy into it, often it leads to horrific choices with extremely serious consequences.
Amen to that. Well, that's a deep concept. Yeah, that we could go into lots of rabbit holes on that subject, right? But totally get that. Totally get it. And I personally have only heard the new stuff just a couple of times, and so far I'm really digging it. I've got to say that I'm not as familiar with all of your past music like Derek is, and so I'm a big fan of the more recent stuff that you've put out, you know. So I don't know if that is a good thing or a bad thing to you, but I love the new stuff.
No, I really appreciate that. You know, I mean, it's I think it is super common. And I'm also even guilty of it myself. You know, like an artist comes out with the first 2 records, and you really get inspired or really into that, and then nothing else they do just does much. And I'm guilty of feeling that way as well about some artists. But I also think as a musician, as an artist, you have to keep trying. You have to grow. You have to challenge yourself. And ultimately, I don't, you know, I mean, I don't make any money doing this. You know,
It's love, yeah. It's definitely.
Playing music costs me money, you know.
Punk rock.
It's same old story, huh, brother? Same old story.
Right. You know. So I have to do some stuff that I like, you know, that I really, you know, love. You know, the last couple albums, I've been recently listening to a lot of old East Coast hardcore, and I think that has shown up quite a bit in the last 2 records that we put out.
Absolutely, it is, man. It's heavy stuff, and I like it, though, man. It's, you know, folks are out there talking about old men in bands, and they're just kidding around and having a laugh. I get it. But the thing is, there's some people that age kind of bad, and some that just go, you know what, man? I'm just going to kick life in the teeth until I freaking die, and that's how you are, man, you know?
I hope so.
To put it nicely.
She says to put it nicely.
Oh. Yeah, I think that also in some ways I guess I'm angrier than I used to be, you know.
Amen.
And Fang has, you know, we were never considered, especially early on, a political band, and certainly the last couple records have been and the last record in particular, far more political than anything I've ever done, you know.
Well, and you know, I'd like to say there's a lot, you know, to try to stay grateful every day, you know, but there's a lot more to be kind of upset about, I think, than there were even in the 80s, you know, when we thought it couldn't get any worse. I think we were wrong, and
it does feel, you know, I agree with you. It does feel worse than it does in the 80s. And I also think that, you know, I talk about this a lot, where punk rock and old punk rockers have drifted to conservatism. Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Help me out here.
I got you, brother.
Conservatism,
Yeah.
it's true, yeah.
And constantly talk about, like, I want to listen to the kids. I want to hear what the kids are doing. I want to hear what they're saying, because I don't, I don't want to be the 58-year-old man that my 15-year-old self would want to push down the stairs.
Oh, what a great way to put it.
I want to listen to that 15-year-old kid and try and find out what's really going on, because I don't know what's really going on. The kids know what's really going on.
Amen, amen.
And you know what, man? It's not just music. Just being someone who made the choice to go into higher education, it's something that happens to everyone. Supposedly, as they grow older, they become more conservative. I remember reading that several years ago, and I was like, well, I'm not. I'm not going to do that, And I see it, and I hear it reflected in a lot of artists' music, and I'm like, wow, I wonder what their young self would think of what they're saying or thinking today.
They'd kick him down the stairs.
Right. So I really want to. How do I put this? I don't want to say I don't want to stay. I want to stay relevant. I want to at least attempt to stay relevant.
Well, and be relatable. At least relatable, man.
Staying relatable, yes.
Staying relatable, exactly, and relatable. I don't actually give a fuck if I'm relatable to people my own age. To be honest,
you can't cuss.
Sorry. I don't care if I stay relatable to people my own age. I want to stay relatable to the youth, to the young people. And the other thing that I've seen both in the Bay Area and San Francisco and here in Tucson is this. I've been to a few Tucson hardcore punk rock backyard parties here. 200 people, just set up and play in the backyard, and it's awesome.
Yep, exactly.
We just played one of the backyard shows that was raising money for kids in the Middle East, and it was like the underground's alive. The bands are great, and the kids are into it, and it's. And they're political, and it's super. I don't know. It's super inspiring. And we also in the Bay Area. The last time we came through, there was this band that I started following called False Flag, and I started following them because there was a post. People had reposted this. They had gone on the BART train, and they brought their equipment and set up and did a show. Like played a gig on the BART train in the Transbay tube.
I think I saw
Oakland to San Francisco. I was like, brilliant. I'm like, that's so cool. I'm like, that's cool as hell.
Talk about staying relevant, man.
I think I saw you post about that. Yeah.
I'm sure. I love it. So when we went and played in the Bay Area in July, I hit those kids up, and they're like young 16, 17-year-old kids, but they are, and there's a whole scene, like young kids, like punk rock scene that's underground doing really cool stuff.
That's good to hear, man, and it's good to hear from you because you're out there doing it, and it's I see it too, and I every time I do, I'm like, wow, that's cool that there still is a scene, and it's still, kids are still into it, and they're also kids that are a lot more aware than people that are giving them credit for. I hate to cut you short, Sammy, but we're running out of time.
No, I really appreciate you having me on. I really appreciate you inviting me to sing on Dark Days as well.
Oh, man, it was such a pleasure, bro, and it was great to hear from you. It's always nice to have you on the show talking, and I'm glad that you're still there representing with the youth and just being real and rolling with the changes, yet staying the same at the same time, being real. I love that about you. Like you said, that there's no reason just because we physically age that we have to sell out everything we've ever believed in because of some stupid number, man. You go with how you feel, and you're only as pretty as you feel, too, you know? So.
Right.
But
all right. Well, you guys take care, and thanks for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
and
Absolutely.
just real quick, where do people find Fang if they want to find your merchandise and stuff like that?
We have Fang official merch on Big Cartel, and the new record, No Warning Shots Fired, is on Bandcamp as well, and then Facebook, Fang official, and Instagram.
Awesome. Well, thanks again. You're listening to Sammytown from Fang. You're at the Church of Rock and KSKQ.